Hey guys, welcome back to ToonBlend 3D. Now we're going to start modeling the Cactus Skull Prisoner character in Blender, using the sketch we made earlier in Krita. So yeah, let's get started. First, open Blender. Then we'll start by adding the image references. Before that, let's set the viewport direction. Move your mouse over the viewport, then press backtick to open the view menu and choose front view. Or you can just press numpad 1. If you're using a laptop without a numeric keypad, you can enable it in Preferences. Go to Edit, then Preferences, then Input. Under Keyboard, turn on Emulate, then Save Preferences, or turn on Autosave so you don't have to save it manually. Now your number keys will work as shortcut keys for changing the view. Next, let's add the reference image. Press Shift plus A, go to Image, then choose Reference. Then load your front view image. Scroll up and down to zoom in and out. Hold Shift plus middle mouse to move around the viewport. Then position the reference so it sits nicely in the center. Next, let's add the right side reference. Switch to right view first. You can press numpad 3, then add the right view image. Since we made two versions, one with the arm and one without, we'll add both. Start with the one with the arm, then add the one without the arm. Next, you can hide each reference image by clicking the eye icon in the scene collection on the top right. For now, let's hide the right reference, then let's rename each reference first. Start with the front reference. Double-click the file name, or press F2 to rename it. Then do the same for the right references, and make sure to give them different names. Before adding the back reference, let's adjust the visibility settings. For example, when you switch to the back view, the front reference is still visible, even though it shouldn't be. So we want the front reference to only be visible from the front view. Select the front reference, then go to Object Data Properties, change the side option from both to front. Now the front reference will only be visible from the front side. Next, add the back reference image and rename it. Then try setting the side to back. But if you check from the front view, the back reference is still visible, and from the back view, it disappears. This happens because the front and back side settings refer to the image itself, not the viewport, since we added the back reference while in the back view. The front side of that image is actually facing the back view, and the back side is facing the front view. So if you want it to be visible from the back view, you need to set the side to front. Or you can re-add the back reference. Select the back reference and press X to delete it. Then add it again while in the front view and set the side to back. This way, the orientation will match the viewport. Then rename it again. Next, unhide all reference images. Press A to select all of them. Then press G, then Z, and move them so the character's feet sit on the ground line. After that, let's adjust the opacity. Enable opacity while holding Alt to apply it to all references at once. Then adjust the value, also while holding Alt. For the right view, hide the version without the arm, and with that, the reference setup is done. Next, we're going to start modeling the character. Before that, rename the collection to Ref. Then add a new collection and name it Mesh. Now press Shift plus A, then add a circle. Set the vertices to 6. Go into Edit mode. Press S to scale, G to move, and R to rotate. Position the circle around the shoulder area and also adjust it from the right view. Then press E to extrude, rotate and follow the flow of the arm. Then continue until the end of the hand, and keep adjusting it from the right view as you go. You can use the middle mouse to control the axis direction. Then for the tip, scale it inward. Then close the hole by switching to face mode and using grid fill. For the left side, add a mirror modifier and enable clipping. Next, let's move to the leg. Add a cylinder, set the vertices to 6, and set cap fill type to nothing. Temporarily disable clipping on the mirror so it's easier to position the leg. Then align the bottom of the leg with the end of the arm. Enable snapping, set it to active, and target vertex. Select the bottom vertex of the leg, move it down, then snap it to the vertex at the end of the arm. Then rotate the leg 90 degrees. Press R, then Z, then type 90. Continue shaping it just like the arm. For the top part, tilt it slightly. then hide all references. Select the 3 inner top vertices of the leg while holding Shift. Then continue extrude them to the side. And make sure clipping on the mirror is enabled again. Next, let's shape the body of the character. Add a plane, then rotate it 90 degrees on the X-axis. Position and scale it to match the head area. Then extrude the top part of the plane and follow the curve of the back. Switch to the back view and adjust it from there. Then connect it to the leg. Select the 4 vertices and press F to create a face. Then select a vertex from the bottom to the top while holding Control to select the edge loop between them. Move it slightly downward so it sits below the center. Next, connect the vertices around the shoulder area. Then continue by creating faces on the back. Select the vertices around the elbow area and press F. Continue filling and adjusting the topology to follow the flow. Press slash to focus on the object. And you can hide the arm for now. Select the arm faces. Then press H to hide them. Then continue filling the remaining empty faces. Next, let's build the belly. Start by extruding from the side, then rotate it and connect it to the front. Continue filling the remaining faces. Here, try to keep most of the topology in quads, especially around the shoulder area. Since adjusting vertices one by one in edit mode can be tiring, you can switch to sculpt mode. Then, use the grab brush by pressing G. Then start adjusting the overall shape. It doesn't have to match the reference perfectly. Just keep the overall shape and proportions close so it still feels consistent. Then press Alt plus H to unhide the arm, and make sure to check and adjust the topology from all views. Once the body topology feels clean enough, let's move on to the head. Start by selecting the face on the head area using Face Select mode. Then duplicate it by pressing Shift plus D. Then press Shift plus H to hide everything except the selection. Next, subdivide the face. Then bevel the edges using Ctrl plus B. Start adjusting the vertices to form a circular head shape. For the mouth, extrude from the bottom edge. Then extrude the entire head, then flatten it by pressing S, then Y, then 0. Then continue shaping the head. Then make sure the inner base faces of the head stay inside the body surface. Then you can enable statistics and viewport overlays to see the vertex or triangle count. This count already includes the mirror modifier. Next, let's create the flower on the character's back. Go back to Object Mode, then add a cylinder. Set the vertices to 6, and also set the cap fill type to a single face. Go into Edit Mode and adjust the position and scale to match the reference. Then add an edge loop in the middle by pressing Ctrl+R. Then shape it to make it more rounded and slightly pointy at the top. If you follow the reference exactly, the placement might not sit well on a flat face, and matching it perfectly would require adjusting the back topology. So instead, we'll make the base of the flower fit properly onto the surface of the body. Enable snapping with face nearest, then select the bottom face of the flower, press G, and don't move the mouse. This will snap it cleanly to the surface without shifting its position. Then duplicate the flower mesh. Next, remove half of the mesh and add a mirror modifier. Since the top and bottom are still a single face, we need to split them. Press K to use the knife tool, then cut a line across the top and bottom. After that, select the center edge and move it to the middle so the vertices merge together. Next, let's create the handcuffs on the character. Press Alt+Q to quickly switch to another mesh while in edit mode. Before that, refine the arm if it still feels off. Then add an edge loop and flatten it by pressing S, Z, then 0, then split it into 2 and adjust the position to match the reference. Then duplicate and extrude the face loop using Alt+E. Then continue by adjusting the scale. Next, extrude and scale the side faces of the handcuffs. Then continue refining and checking the overall topology, especially around the belly and shoulder areas. And with that, the modeling process for the Cactus Skull Prisoner character is done. Thanks a lot for watching the whole video. Next, we'll move on to rigging and animation, and see you next time.